So just because we can't rent out the MGM room for $50,000 doesn't mean that even if I do something small at a library, there's no value to it. You only do something until it's not intentional anymore, right? We don't want to make mistake movement for achievement. So pro tip, we got to choose an event you're going to enjoy. I'm being honest. But I can't go into this and expect if I do it on a Saturday or Sunday, Monday, hey, how come no one's calling me? I got to set the right expectation in my mind to understand, right? The winning in real estate is not who can do the most activity in a year. It's who can do the most activity consistently. That's where we win. So we're going to talk about events, brother. And I have a PDF that I know I'll send it out to you. So I'll send it. I'm going to share the screen, but I also will send it to you as well. So, Lovely, why do we do why events? What's the point of an event? Is it just like have a party, like get drunk?
All the above.
There you go. Right.
Well, no, I think there's a lot of benefits for events. Just to get to network more, to show the people you care about them, to show your clients, not the people, your clients, you care about them, to show, like what you're doing, and maybe in that way you can get referrals, other business from the people you know, or it's a way to get face to face with someone that your clients or whoever.
Exactly, right. And you know this, we're the best version of ourselves in person in terms of conversion ratio. So why not do something? And like you said, honestly, it should be a good time. I know for like some people for planning, that and doing it, it's work, but it should be fun in theory, right? So like you said, right? It's we know the face-to-face version is always going to be the highest conversion. I mean, you don't marry like a virtual wife. You may need a virtual wife. You may need a wife and pen pal, but you have to eventually meet a person, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that was a weird analogy, but you know what I'm saying? The whole idea, right? You don't see your son just in the computer screen all day. Like, that sucks, right? When people travel, it's not the same. So we want to do events. And like you said, it's really building the relationship. The other thing is too is we can actually gain transactional leads from that, right? We can say, hey, because there's two type of events, right? There's relationship client-based events, but you can still say, bring +1. Make sure you budget correctly. Like you can do a client event and say bring +1. You want a budget, right? Maybe you can do where you're only inviting something small, but it has to be it's a +1. Or if you do just your client events, I'm saying not +1, but plus more than one, right? So events are great. They're a great way to be our best version of real estate in person. Like you said, Love Deep, it actually should be fun. You should actually have fun, right? I know you're we would be in the working mindset, right? But it's also like, let's just have fun. Let's chat. Another great thing is clients will talk to other clients, right? And they'll talk about, hopefully they'll have great experiences. At the same time, it's a lot of relationship rapport. There's people where they network together. Oh, Dwayne was at, in our thing, and now Dwayne met with Steve, and now they're going to go and play football together. And that stemmed from, right, community of that. So I love that. Now, well, there's what kind of events? There's a lot, right? Let me ask you guys this. If I'm doing an event, how often do you think we need to do an event? Like at a minimum, how often would we need to do it?
At least once a year, if you can manage that, I think that helps. But if you are able to schedule more in, maybe at least like once a quarter.
Once, right? Why does it, why, and that's a great point, Love D. And Dewani, Chase always got me calling you that. Dwayne, Dwayne, why is that something that doesn't have to be done every week? Or rephrase, you can do different events every week. That's a lot. But why don't I have a client appreciation for every month? Like what makes it that it's not as intentional after a certain while?
You probably couldn't do it at a high level at a consistent basis like that. Like, because that's probably like a lot of upfront costs and stuff, and you're not sure, kind of figure out where is it going, especially if you're just starting. So I would say, like, because I think it's not as, do it as consistent as, every week or whatever, because I would say, yeah, not being able to do it at a high level.
Not high level.
Consistently, yeah.
Exactly, right? Same thing you tell the defensive back. It's you only do something until it's not intentional anymore, right? We don't want to make mistake moving for achievement. I mean, weddings are a great thing. A party, I love I'm not a big party person, but I like to go and connect to people. But man, I ain't trying to do that every week. Like I mean, there are people, when we were younger, obviously things are different, right? We can all agree on that. Things are different. But at the same time, the value is gone. Like, yo, didn't I just see you last week? Like, it doesn't make sense. Then you add what Dwayne said, the cost, the planning, because there's ideas prior to the event, during and after. That's really the important aspect of the event, not just the event itself, the touches, right? So let's talk about, and I don't think I added the touches on that, and I'll add a new one, and I'll add a new part of this and do it. So when we look at different types of events, obviously hosting client events helps real estate agents build stronger relationships, top of mind, generate referrals. Events can strengthen both relationship and transactional opportunities, right? So when we look at appreciation events, really the first part in the first parentheses is what it's targeted for, right? Relationship, your database, right? Then at the same time, you can also have transactional. Yeah, bring whoever you want. I mean, if you're really ready for that, right? I have a budget of $40,000 for an event. I invite 2,000 people in my database and I say, bring whoever you want. I'm probably going to be using a lot of it if it goes intentional, right? That's a lot of people you're feeding. Can you imagine you invite 2,000 people, let's say half of them, 1,000 show up, and let's say 500 are database? That's a lot of people. Right? So that's where you want to be able to be strategic. Obviously, like we said, it has to make sense. So what are some things? Annual client appreciation parties. Hey, I just want to say, thank you for being, sorry. I don't know if you guys are old enough for that, but you want to, annual client appreciation. It could be a quarterly appreciation, like Love Deep said, right? It could be a bigger event once a year, smaller events, throughout the year. Holiday celebration. This is a perfect time. Actually, the Gahunya group, we were talking about that, Love Deep, right? Celebration holidays, different religious celebrations. This is a great time. I love this. Is my favorite time of year. I look forward to winter, like Christmas in the summer. I don't know if I'm the only one. Summer barbecue, picnic, right? Ice cream social, right? There's different types of appreciation. This is not all. There's more. There's more types, right? Now, that's more relationship based, right? So if I say, obviously, we talked about how we need to touch our database. In person, phone call, all that stuff. These could be, look, you can do pop buys. I know Regina does it, pop buys with with some VIP clients, but I also can't forget about, I need to touch my personal people in other ways, right? So those are relationship touch that you can get referrals from that, right? From, hey, bring your cousin's brother or whatever, anyone that would have fun, right? So now we look at educational things, right? So my coach, Dan Roshan, shout out, Dan, he calls it teach to sell, right? Homeowner educational events. These are primarily not saying you can't invite people in your database, but generally when you're looking at home maintenance workshop, here's the best part, all these, get a vendor. Home maintenance workshop, who's going to be a great person to co-host this with you?
If you have like a
Who does that check within the first 10 days normally of a house?
A home inspector.
Home inspector. They're going to love it's business for them. It's a win-win, right? Home maintenance. I mean, I'm just being, you can get a builder, but you know what I'm saying, right? You don't have to be like Steve says, I have to. No. Home maintenance workshop. That could be a home inspector. You can do something like that. Interior designer staging seminar. That's a great way to talk about how to stage your house for sale or just maintain it, designing. Who am I talking to mostly at that point? Probably more who than what? Owners, right? I'm not going to do an interior design. I mean, I guess you can, but most homeowners are going to appreciate, hey, you guys want to learn about how to decorate? There's agents that I know that they do that on the side because the person that sold their house, let's say they were a listing agent, they stage it, blah, blah, blah. I've had where buyers went out, hey, can you ask the agent who they stage? Like they do it themselves. Hey, look, it won't be the client, but I want to know how they stage. There's people that do that. We had clients that they stage for some of our listings, right? So interior design, that's a great way to segue homeowners, right? Staging seminar, that's a great way for people that are thinking about. Remember, the goal is not just now, it's about when you're ready. Let's be proactive. Seller seminars in general, right? Think about it. And this actually, Dwayne, this kind of falls along the line of the video sales letter, right? Seller seminar. Well, what's a pain point? Well, where do I go? The rent back is probably the biggest thing. What can I afford? Most people have those questions. So if we substitute ourselves into, well, if I'm selling, what is the question I have? Well, do I live on the street until the house, becomes on the market or after it sells? Those are great pain points to try to help prescribe, right? And then real estate market update night. I think this is a great thing for like door knocking or something in the community base. And that's the next one. But something that's like, hey, we're doing a real estate market social media check-in just to see what's going on. Most people are homeowners or have the goal to be a homeowner. They want to know real estate affects them. And you guess what? By affecting real estate, that's affecting our generational wealth, right? What do you guys think? I'm talking too much today. Coffee.
You're absolutely right. I think, there's a lot of value in educational seminars. That's like, you can do that at a library. That's more like a free thing, man. It's probably low cost. And, get like bottled water. You don't have to spend so much.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it works for buyers. So it's just, at that point, you got to market it,
Exactly. And we'll talk, and I love that. We'll talk about like how to market all that stuff, right? The touches. So no, that's a great point. Now you look at community and family events, right? This can kind of go along the lines of like a client appreciation. So you have outdoor movie night. You can do that, where it's relationships, for your database, pumpkin patch, fall festival, kind of a client appreciation, but like on a different scale, right? Easter egg hunt, where it's more seasonal, right? You can do flag football, which I think would be great doing. I'm just saying, flag football event, right? Whoever wins gets like a free, seller guide. I'm kidding, whatever it is, right? But that, because at the end, it has to relate to where you enjoy as well. Back to school drive, donations, stuff like that. Of course, it's not, hey, can I bring one? They really want to buy. Sorry, Steve says only people in the data. No. You got a budget for it, right? But it can be a transactional, right? Where you can, and again, one of the things I always say, and I've learned this, you don't want to have like where it's a database relationship, but you're also blasting it everywhere. It kind of becomes disingenuous, where it's like, I thought it was about us. So what I'm saying with the relationship, the transactional is if they bring someone, it's their choice, right? Because what you don't want is like, 500 people, or let's say 50 people from Facebook and 400 people like, who the hell are these people? You don't want that. So you don't want to be like, man, this guy's screwed. So the transactional, like I said, is if they're bringing their family, right? That stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm opposed to that, but I have seen it where it can get funny, right? It's not about the client anymore. It's really like, whoa, I thought it was about. So fun and social outings, right? And this can be the same. You can kind of put this on the same thing. bowling night, wine tasting, brewery tour, mini golf tournament. That's actually a great idea. We should do that at RCE. Sports viewing party, right? You can watch, Dwayne on the coach's sidelines with the Dolphins, with Mike McCarthy. Is it not Mike McCarthy? No, not Mike. Anyway, the young coach. You can watch him stand there with his headpiece and the clipboard as he covers. So you can do a lot of different events, right? If you like sports, it could be church events too, right? You can have church events as well on there. Questions so far? I know I'm going.
No, I think it's all good. I actually saw this on realtors. It comes from my kids a lot.
Say again, brother. It's breaking up.
Sorry, the sports one definitely comes out of my field a lot. On my
Ooh.
social media. The one realtor, I think it's like John Fox something. And the Sundays, the home opener, there's them doing a whole tailgate, come over, free burgers and like things. That's a level I want to.
What I would say, and I love that, what I would say is be careful. Don't get too competitive. I've heard of stories where people were like, yo, this is not fun because the agent was like, yeah, you suck. Like they got really like, no, this is for fun. It's not about winning. Like some people get really like, funny about that. Yeah. So don't push kids. Yeah, you suck. Kidding. Virtual and hybrids, right? So these are things that you can do virtually, right? Obviously, in person is great. It's strong. And probably the second thing is phone call, and now Google Meet, Zoom, Teams. And because the beautiful thing, the value of that is it can be more bigger. You can put a bigger net out there, right? So again, you can do, and any of these that are transactional, you can always add like, I'm going to let my database know, right? But online buying seminars, it can be the same type of things. Obviously, you can't do bowling night virtually. I guess you can. Actually, during COVID, I will tell you, there's teams that were big. One of their big lead generation for both, right? Those relationship with referrals was events. You know what they ended up doing? Casino night on the computer. And they did. It was a good turnout. It was better than the people's, the world's going to end. We were scared. We didn't know. So they did like a casino night online. And I don't know the legality of it, make sure you're not betting money. You know what I'm saying? So there's ways you can do virtual, right? You just be careful with the laws if you're doing gambling stuff, right? Oh, DraftKings is sponsoring. No. So of course, those a lot of times they're mostly transactional. Like if I'm posting, first time home buyers seminars, stuff like that, right? Virtual cooking and mixology class. That's becoming a big one. I had an agent that used to teach. She was a mixologist, I think is the term. And when she did that on the side, she actually even talked about real estate. So it was the other way around, right? Which is pretty cool. We actually used to have a wine and something thing that we did a couple times on our team before. And this continues that. So like I was saying, Zoom trivia or game night, virtual market update, right? I mean, I think that's a big one for relationship. Charitable events, right? Relationship first transactional. I mean, I think these can be both, I would say. You can kind of do both. I'd say it looks different when you're doing it like to your database. Hey, every year we're doing our Cahunia charity 5K run. You're going to probably have the biggest repeat referral from that because you've been doing that to your database where, yeah, you can do it transactional, but you're probably going to get more value from the people already that know you, that know your value of always doing the food or toy drive, right? We're actually, and I'm going to talk to Thomas, we're going to be doing RCE. We want to do like adopt a family where there's, victims of abuse that don't have essentials, right? So that's one of the things we'll talk about that. Fundraising, galas or silent auction, volunteer day with clients. I think that's great. I know a lot of brokerages do their own volunteer days. We know our old place used to have one in May. Here's the biggest thing. Here's some pro tips, right? Any questions so far, guys? Any questions so far? So pro tip. We got to choose an event you're going to enjoy. I'm being honest. Like, I remember when I first started real estate, people were like, you should join a PTA meeting and you're going to be great. I'm like, I could not stand school growing up. Why would I want to be somewhere that I don't want to be? I'm not going to be the best version of myself, right? I'm not saying for any PTA listeners out there in the future, I'm not saying that. That's just me. So like you said, Love Deep, sports, right? That's a big thing. Dwayne plays in the NFL. So that is a big thing that we want. Whatever aligns with you well, because you should be having fun. It is going to be, a little bit stressful, chaotic. Usually you want to leverage an operations persons to help gather that stuff. And here's the thing. You don't have to make it huge. You can do whatever we just went over in a small groups. It can be mix of small intimate gatherings. It can be, you can have, well, I guess is it, you can do larger events there. You can mix them up, right? Community-wide events, maximum you reach it. So, but here's the thing is you don't have to, it doesn't have to, one of the things that we get caught up sometimes, and I agree, we want to be like the best version of doing something, but sometimes we don't get to be the best, we don't get to do it the best way unless we do it, right? I can't do the best, sports bar event, for my clients. It's not going to be for the first time, but the more I do it, the more the skill will improve, right? And think about this too. A lot of these a lot of these, I would say generally they're going to be a warm to cool timeline, right? So, unless you're, and I would say even ones that are like transactional based, like the ones that you're doing a home buying seminar, the one you're probably statistically, you're not going to have someone say, oh, actually, I just been pre-approved. Yes, maybe. Most of the time, they're going to be what? At what process?
Just like looking around to, and those, just like very fresh, very cool.
It's breaking up a little bit. I can barely hear you.
I was just saying they're like so fresh. They're so cool. Like you gotta like still work to pre-qualify them.
They're basically pre-qualified. You may pre-qualify them after they show up, right? They may be a year out. They may be, and that's what is great. It's because it's still a pipeline. Good morning. It's still a pipeline for us, right? When you have these, so what I'm saying is, and remember, for me, the way I see warm is 3 to 6 months they need to start. That's not a long time. If you're by doing these and you'll see the transactional aspects of them, right? The transactional ones, because those are the ones we're getting lead question mark. Most of the time, not all, most of the lead, the transactional are going to be soonest warm to cool. These relationship ones, they're probably going to be leaning more on the cooler side. But the key is we want to still continue to strengthen those relationships. So then they refer us maybe some hot, warmer cools, right? So but what I don't, and again, this is the biggest thing. If you're doing an event and it's mostly your database, the expectation should be, look, I'm doing this because I know in the long run, this is the win. I'm going to probably get some cool from them. Maybe they change they're warm and their plans change or they refer me, but I can't go into this and expect if I do it on a Saturday or Sunday, Monday, hey, how come no one's calling me? I'm not setting, kind of like when we talked about door knocking, right? I got to set the right expectation in my mind to understand, right? And in fact, especially these relationships, the reason I'm able to do this event is because of the value that they allowed me to serve them to get money to have funds to do that, right? So it's a giving back way, of course, it's giving back. Thank you, because there's a lot of agents out there and you chose, I'm honored, right? And of course, if you know of anyone else, I'm still here, right? So we have to be intentional with our plan, right? The winning in real estate is not who can do the most activity in a year. It's who can do the most activity consistently. That's where we win, right? Whether, hey, every year I'm going to do 2 food drives. I'm going to do this, and this, and this. Great. I understand that by doing this food drive, this is my expectation. The win is not that one food drive and I'm not getting results. No, right? Susan said it perfectly. I don't go on a 2-week diet and I don't lose 30 pounds. I quit. No, that's not how it works, right? Unless you have some special shots that are going on. Anyway, it's another conversation. But yet at the same time, it's time on task over time, right? Does that kind of make sense for everyone? Awesome.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Sorry, I can't see faces, so I need laughter feedback. Okay.
Yeah, and I got you. I wish I wasn't driving right now, but yeah,
I know, brother. I'm giving you a hard time, but I appreciate it. Okay, so and that's the thing. So in here, the costs, right? Love Deep, you said it perfectly. And Dwayne, you said it. If we're going to rent out a movie every week. Well, if you do that, Dwayne, let me know so I can go and be a guest every week. That doesn't make sense. The cost, the investment is not going to make sense because in-person doesn't require as often, right? It doesn't make sense to do it. And the cost can vary. It's not what people forget, right? At the end of the day, Love Deep, you guys have great systems and models. Dwayne is one of the most patient, caring, genuine person when he deals with his clients, right? Kevin is the same way. Very caring, very tech heavy, very understands data. But yet they want to work with you because of who your values are on the inside, that you guys care about their goals first. So just because we can't rent out the MGM room for $50,000 doesn't mean that even if I do something small at a library, there's no value to it, right? There's still a value to it because people are not going. Now, if you start inviting transactional, then yeah, maybe think about food, stuff like that. But especially if you're talking to your database, they're going to Love Deep. You and the Gahunia group helped accomplish my goal. Dwayne, Kevin, you guys were great in accomplishing selling and buying. We appreciate it. That's why they're going to go, right? So sometimes we get caught up in the shiny penny aspect, and not the comps aspect, but the shiny penny aspect that we forget the value of what we're doing, right? And so now as you start to do more and more and there's more revenue, then look, I would love it where the Gahunia group invites 4,000 people that they close in 1 year to the MGM. Can we go to? I would love that, right? That'd be great. Or Kevin rents out, a whole data center and he uses it as a party place. That would be crazy. I don't know if that's legal. You know what I'm saying? Or Dwayne rents out wherever the Commanders play. Dude, that would be. Hey, Dwayne, if you take your clients to a football game, right? That's a great thing, but we have to work on that, right? To do that. Okay. Now, let's talk about one of the most important aspects of this. I'm going quick. Questions on this, on that part. Okay. Touches. And I was talking to Regina the other day about this. The event itself is great. It's a lot of value, both sides, right? They feel appreciated. We appreciate them. There's a lot of warm and cool touches, right? It could be hot. I'm not saying that. But the touches prior to it is a lead generating method. Hey, Love Deep, we just want to let you know what month are we in? In February, we're looking at doing a food drive just, after you fluff. Hey, Love Deep, how's everything? How's the family? How's, Regina? How's the wife? How's the son? How's everything? Great. How's, you got to have the relationship, right? The fluff. This is for relationship, lead generating. How's everything? How's the job going? Any plans for Christmas? Great. Well, any real estate needs, what's going on in the market by chance? Have you heard about the rates? Whatever. Okay, great. Hey, by the way, I wanted to let you know we're actually doing a food drive. I don't know if you do food drives in the winter, but let's say we're doing a charity 5K run that's going to help, the homeless situation in DC. And we would love for you to be a part of it any way you can. I'll keep you posted on that, just so you know. Just want to let you know. Well, that's a reason that I'm calling them, right? Aside from building and strengthening a relationship, but I'm also calling them with an intentional, purposeful value, right? The 5K, that's one touch. As we get closer, hey, Love Deep, hey, it's me again. I know we just talked. Usually it's every 3 months. At the same time, though, just want to let you know about the charity run that's happening in 2 months, and just seeing any ideas. Maybe you guys want to help. Maybe some other. It's a touch. It's a value to be able to talk to them. We should be talking. If I'm setting up a plan for like next June. You should have, apparently Kevin doesn't agree with me. I'm kidding. You should have at least 4 to 5 touches outside of your area. You should have about 4 to 5 touches specifically to the event, leading up to the event, outside of your regular, database touches, right? Because now I'm having intentional conversation with you about that specific. Doesn't that really resonate top of mind? So now I have more reason to talk to you about that. I'm really lead generating, right? Same way with transactional. Obviously, the goal is to market it enough where you can get people to sign up, but then you start the process. Hey, Dwayne, I see you signed up for the event. We're excited to kind of go over the goals. Just looking forward. Thank you for signing up. Then maybe the next touch. No, Dwayne, just wanted to remind you things are here. Don't worry, we'll have food, blah, blah, blah. And let me know if you can just jot down a little bit about your goals or any questions or write up, whatever. Now I do another touch. It's about the touches prior to it, right? So you have 4 or 5 touches prior to it, and you got to do it in a systematic way. Like, don't do 5 days before. Hey, it's Monday. How are you, Love Deep? You ready to go? Tuesday. Hey, Love Deep, you ready to go? Don't do that, right? It's to be like systematic. I hope people are laughing. Yeah, it has to be systematic, right? A month before, 2 months before, 3 months, and then we start. It has to make sense. Ask ChatGPT. How can I systematically do 5 touches in the 2-month plan? Whatever, right? Now, here's a beautiful thing. That's 4 or 5 touches prior, aside from your regular smart plans, everything you're doing database. In the event, that's another touch. Sometimes you may not even talk to if you have a big database or if it's a big event, you may not talk to everyone, right? Of course, you got to do a spiel, your speech, thank you for coming, whatever. But here's the beautiful part. What if they don't show up? What happens if they don't show up? Or they say, hey, I can't make it. Should I just forget? All right, forget it. I ain't calling you anymore about this.
No, I gotta keep touching them.
Say again, buddy. I'm sorry. Say again.
Still gotta keep touching them.
Still touch them, right? Hey, I know you can do if they say in the third event or hey, I can't make it. Hey, Love Deep Fluff, right? Or hey, Dwayne, hey, Fluff, how's everything? Hey, I know you can't make it. Just wanted to say thank you though for at least trying, and we would, we'll save you something from there. It's still a touch after the event. Here's the big thing, because most people are gonna be like, man, I didn't make it. They ain't gonna bother me, right? Not in that way, right? Because especially if these are a relationship. But even transactional, hey Kev, man, hey, how are you? This is Steve. How's everything? How's the family? Great. Hey, I know you didn't make it, and we missed you a lot, man. We missed you a lot. I'm sure it would have been fun to actually meet you in person, not over the phone. But just wanted to say thank you for being and making it, or at least attempting it to do it. By the way, any real estate. This is a great way to segue into a conversation about possibly a real estate goal, right? Or if there's not, great, value to close. Well, no, love to stay in touch. And, I like to say hi. And of course, if something comes up again, we'll definitely let you know. So there's always a way to touch before, during, and after, even if they say no. You just have to be respectful about it, right? You better show up. Don't do that, right? So I'm going to add on here about the touches, about the, the 4 or 5 touches prior. Okay, questions, because questions, ahas, concerns, complaints. This makes sense to anyone. Does anyone want to? What's anyone's call to action about?
Sorry, I'm just getting in the car. That's good stuff. I like it.
He's like, I just rented out. Is it
right.
Field? I don't know what the field is doing.
Especially with the little events and stuff.
Yes.
I think I would enjoy event around sports. Obviously that's me. So I do want to put that together. And football for me is year round, whether we watching it, playing it, or coaching.
Year round.
Yeah. So we watching football, playing football, coaching football. That's just me. So yeah, I'm a dive into that.
I love that, and there's plenty of people that are in the same boat, and that you can have a relationship, and I'm sure they may know someone or they have a real estate goal. There's a combination out there that makes sense, right? For that. Any other ahas? Any other? And like I said before, and I'm going to add on here too. I got to write in my sticky notes. Ask vendor support. Right? Ask your title company that you work with. Ask your lender you work with, home inspector. We're not racing to zero. It's a value for everyone, right? It's a win-win. Lenders will definitely want to help. Title companies will definitely. I know off top of my head, United One Mortgage will, because I know Imran. He will do whatever it is to help you guys grow. All of us grow, right? Because I've seen it before. But definitely ask for, vendor support, things like that. That helps eliminate costs, right? And I had a coach who used to tell me, Steve, even if you do an intimate I'm paying for lunch for 5 people every month or every quarterly. That's still better than nothing. Like, we just need face to face at a certain point, right? Okay. Anything else? Vendor support. Anything else? No. So I love that. So their value of being there is, one, they're going to help with cost, right? They're going to help with cost because I'm sure there's probably going to be food. If there's a DJ, if there's tickets, transportation, they're going to help with cost. But the value incentive for that, helping with the cost, is they're in front of the same people as well. Right. But that's where part of the value of it's a win-win is like, hey, I'll put in 50-50 and they'll put their signs up. I'll put my signs up. We'll put my material, their material. And then at the end, we're trying to capture everyone, right? But that's a great question.